v.h.s.x? What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're reacting and having a discussion about a video from Das Food titled DBD and the Black Pill, which is actually insane work, I'm not gonna lie. And right off the bat it says, quote, "I haven't been feeling DBD lately, so here's some lovely B-roll from old 2v8 events. I don't think I've used this footage before, but I apologize if I have." So at least, you know, I'm finding yet another creator who's probably shares the same sort of sentiment I have for DBD lately as well. The burnout is real. The burnout is definitely real. I have not been feeling DBD myself for quite a while. I started to pick up a little bit, like I would say a couple of weeks ago, and then after the Walking Dead release and everything kind of exploded, I pretty much just don't. I'm back to kind of where I started in that sense. So let's just dive in. I'm really interested to kind of hear what's going to be discussed. Let's dive in.
Called the Dead by Daylight Black Pill. And for those of you who don't know, the Black Pill basically refers to viewing things through a deeply hopeless worldview. I think the whole Black Pill thing started with pretty fringe parts of the internet, but it seems to be mentioned kind of everywhere these days, so whatever. I'm gonna use it, and I hope I don't sound like too much of a weirdo. For me, I've often tried to be optimistic about the future of Dead by Daylight. I love this game, and I have been hooked on it, get it, since 2018.
I will say, in contrast to what Das Food is is saying, I would say that I don't think that I don't think I've ever like loved this game, honestly. You know, I did get into the game because of the horror movie licenses, and that's mainly what got me in the first place. And I gotta say, not to be super negative, but I will not say I really have experienced like genuine fun. I think for a long time with DBD, even when I started, I don't think it was really that fun for me personally. I think the only time I genuinely enjoyed the game was when 2v8 was out. I think that's when I genuinely wanted to play the game. I genuinely had fun hanging out with people playing horror villains and stuff like that. And that to me was just incredible. That was a great experience, just kind of laughing and having a good time. And that to me was the most fun and enjoyable. But I can't say I love the game. You know, the game doesn't love you either. You know what I'm saying? The game is very, very cruel and very grueling in a lot of ways. You know, especially if you mainly just kind of play a lot of garbage tier killers. Maybe it's a lot more fun for anybody above B tier. You know, or I should say C tier rather. Like, you know, but all my characters that I main have all been low tier trash. So I guess it's sort of a self-fulfilled prophecy, but like I've said, I'm just, you know, I'm a horror movie fan, so like I wanted to play Chucky and Freddy and Ghostface, but they're all garbage. You know, Myers, same thing. Like they're all just low-tier trash, and it kind of sucks. You know, I wish they were better. I wish that, you know, they were actually, you know, not garbage, not C tiers, not D tiers, and stuff like that. But you know, whatever. Let's continue.
Really special to me, and I only want the best for it. But 3 events have kind of hit back to back to back lately that have really shaken my confidence in DBD. Those 3 things are, in order, the recent killswitched nonsense with Streetwise.
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree with the Streetwise response. I don't understand why kill switching was this foreign concept when they've kill switched for less. Honestly, they've kill switched straight up killers for less. I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Makes no goddamn sense. I don't know why they didn't just flip the switch and call it a day to prevent any further damages to their reputation. If they were to just kill switch it so that it's out of the game, so that no one has to exploit it and experience it, so it buys them time to actually fix the problem. Boring concept, I know, but let's continue.
A video from one of my favorite creators, and finally the disastrous live stream with Chandler Riggs from The Walking Dead. By themselves, each of these was embarrassing enough, but all together, it is a rough time to be a DBD fan, man, I'm telling you, it is. That being said, I really did experience something strange when watching that video. I experienced something that I've only ever really felt as like a passing emotion, but now I can't seem to shake it. And I'm not one for negativity farming, but my main takeaway is that Dead by Daylight is really, really, really screwed. Kind of. I know I'm fence sitting, which I like to do, but
Yeah, DBD is definitely burning. Like DBD is burning. It is just on fire, and it's not looking too hot, especially for behavior's reputation, especially for me as a killer player, a killer enjoyer. Not looking too hot for me as a player. Like we are getting completely pushed out from playing, from even playing our our favorite side, honestly. And I have no interest in engaging in Survivor at all. So it's like, it's basically saying, hey, don't play me. That's the game. It's just looking you straight in the eyes and just going, do not play me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, you're probably right. I won't. You know what I mean? I won't.
The phrase is, and I quote, "The devs can't fix it." And this comes up a lot, frankly. It comes up very often. Spaghetti code is a mess, and the devs can't fix it. The perk system is beyond saving, and the devs can't fix it. The movement system is screwed, and the devs can't fix it. Killer powers are coded like items, and the devs can't fix it. Anti-cheat is terrible and easy to exploit, and the devs can't fix it. So on and so forth. Now, before going further, I want to make one thing clear. I am not insinuating that it would be easy to fix the things I've talked about, or any of the things I haven't talked about. What I am saying is that it's pretty obvious that the current team at Behavior is not capable of fixing everything, even if they wanted to. They've built their game in such a way that to make changes that would improve the game's long-term health would require a total and complete restart. If we want things like rewriting the code, drastically overhauling the outdated perk system, or editing movement mechanics so that killer powers can be more creative in the future, we would need the long-discussed DBD2, which is, in and of itself, a huge problem. They will not do DBD2.
Yeah, there's really no incentive to do DBD2, and it honestly would completely divide. I think they would lose a lot of players if they were to do DBD2, because people have already invested a lot of money into this game, whether it be cosmetics, buying chapters, and things like that, and then having to do that all again, not great. That is not a good business decision. It is not a smart move. Ultimately, they're going to stick where the money's at. DBD by itself is going to make the most amount of money. It's very common. It's very accessible. It's usually going on sale frequently. It's usually maybe given through like console and stuff like that. Where like the subscriptions are like for like free, basically it's free of charge and stuff like that. It's the most accessible it can be. So I don't imagine that releasing a sequel is a smart move at all. Unless they go the dreaded free-to-play option, which would completely change the name of the game, I would say, in a lot of ways. I don't know how well that's going to be perceived.
Because they can't do DBD2. This is not a case like Overwatch, where Blizzard was able to take Winston and the gang and just migrate them from one platform to one game to another, that is. Blizzard owns the characters that people want to play. For DBD, it's not quite so simple. Also, Blizzard has way more resources. Like, I know that DBD has gotten a lot bigger, but it's still not on par with Blizzard, so that's just a quick aside. The most immediate...
Keep in mind as well, before even Das Food even says anything, most of us, at least speaking for myself, I should say, but those of us that care mostly about the licenses will not have their characters licensed into the game. Pretty much, they would have to renegotiate, and who knows how that'll turn out. You know what I mean? We can't even guarantee anything from that. We cannot guarantee anything. We most likely will not be receiving anything as well. You know, no compensation. That's even good enough. They've shown us historically that they do not give us anything worth for compensation at all. As well as, you know, this is, like I've said, you know, this is still DBD we're talking about. They want to stick to their moneymaker.
Immediate issue with the thought of a second Dead by Daylight is that the devs would have to remake or rework literally everything in existence and also resecure the rights to all licenses. That would mean not only recreating 88 characters, 40 killers and 48 survivors, nearly 300 perks, over 40 maps, and goodness gracious, who could even guess how many cosmetics they've made over the years, but it would also mean re-upping on every single licensing deal they've ever signed. Sure, some would likely follow along like Resident Evil or Silent Hill because they seem to have a good relationship with Behavior, but what about Texas Chainsaw? What about Nightmare on Elm Street? Are we certain that the Shape and Lori would come along for a second ride? And even if by...
I mean, I would think not. I mean, their licensing seems pretty garbage. I mean, we haven't got any cosmetics for these characters. We have not even received any sort of updates to their appearance ever since like the time they got added, pretty much. Like Quentin had a pretty terrible appearance, like he would look really disgusting, and they actually did rework the character model. And that, I think Nia, and I forgot another, I think David as well was also changed, so that they look a little bit better, a little bit cleaner. But yeah, I mean, and Quentin, and I don't know if Lordy ever got a change to her appearance as well, but that's at the most we've gotten to them, was literally just a slight alteration to their face, and that's it. You know what I mean? And I don't imagine that they would follow along. It seems like the licenses are very, very strict from what we can see, and I would imagine that they most likely would not be able to renegotiate. I think they would have to go for a completely different license to even attempt to even come close to what's being represented. So I don't know. I mean, yeah. And I've already talked about Myers in the past as well. I'll probably link that at the end.
Some miracle, all of these worked out, all of these could come over to DBD2. What do we do about the people who have already bought DLC for Hellraiser or Attack on Titan? Are they just out of their money? Because those licenses are not coming over. Sadly, Behavior is stuck in a place where a DBD sequel or remake is extremely desirable, but also entirely unrealistic. And that's not just because of the licenses or anything else I've mentioned. It's also because the developers are stuck in a constant grind for new content. They release 4 new chapters every year, and also have to work to update modes like Lights Out and 2v8. Not only that, but every time they release a new chapter, the spaghetti monster attacks, and they have to fix the game before they can move on to something else and something new. And make no mistake, for all the talk of people wanting a proper Operation Health, many of them, not everybody, but many of them don't actually want that. The DBD community is very fickle, and if they go too long without fresh content, they fall back into their usual bad habits of, spending all day on Twitter complaining about nothing, witch hunting the villain of the week, and just generally getting miserable. This is a community...
I will say, though, that isn't really a problem with Behavior, I think, and that's more so a problem with the community as a whole, and I don't think that players are really that important, in my opinion, only because of the fact that the dedicated people are the ones that keep the game sort of alive. You know what I mean? Casuals that only get on it once a year, I mean, I wouldn't imagine that those people are going to really raise up your player counts or log in every day or actually really do much beyond, oh, look, an event, and then they just play for a little bit and then they're gone again. Like, they should be trying to focus on people that actually are dedicated to their game, because those are the main ones that are going to be giving them money. Like, that's their main lifeblood and their main player base. Like, they have to focus on those people as a whole.
I mean, I'm bad at the game, so I guess I don't really know what I'm talking about. I guess I just need to defer here, but not to beat a dead horse, but this whole thing felt very reminiscent of years ago. I mean, we're talking like probably 2018 or 19 or something like that, when one dev was streaming and he told people that there were no plans for a colorblind feature and that whining about it wasn't going to change anything. It just felt very akin to that. It felt like it was the same type of response of like, no, we don't care about this, and also shut up, right?
Which is kind of insane, because why are they so against accessibility? Like that, these are the same devs that want to sort of promote inclusivity, right? Promote the political stuff, right? And it's like, why are we not then, like, why is that not on the top of the list, accessibility, so that anyone can play the game? Isn't that a part of being inclusive? Like, that by definition doesn't even make sense. What are we talking about?
They did ignore him. And then they ignored Chandler Riggs when he asked about trying Otz's idea. No, they shouted. We're in control here, and we're going to fix this. But, of course, they never did. They simply ended the stream after an hour of getting nowhere and called it a day. Oh, and they deleted the VOD too. Smart thinking. It's not like things stay on the internet forever, right? The next day, we got the typical Behavior response.
Oh my god, that is just kind of pathetic, honestly. How the hell do you sit there? Oh my god, I don't even know if I got the energy to get to crash out about something like this, man. I mean, how much more do we need to see that this game is definitely on a downward spiral with these devs, man? And unfortunately, the game's not gonna die. It's just not going to. It's too. I feel like it's grown into this disgusting sewage mass that's it's got a life of its own now, and it's like, golly, man. And everybody's got an IV attached to it, just filling it with more nutrients, and it's like, golly, man. Like, you gotta cut the cords, man. Gotta cut the cords, get them out of here, because they like, what else are we gonna do here? Like, there's gotta be some kind of way to change or somehow push this into a different direction, because this is ridiculous already.
Trusted. Maybe they aren't very good at PR, and the moments of cattiness or mean-spiritedness are the times where they're showing how they actually feel. It's not bold to say that the devs aren't always good at their jobs, but that's usually offered with the caveat that they're wonderful people and nobody thinks anything less of them as human beings. And while I am sure that there are absolutely wonderful people to be found within an organization of over 1,000 employees, I also believe it's fair to wonder if maybe some of them aren't very nice. Maybe some of them...
Is that really a question? And we can already see that these people are not very nice. Like, you know what I mean? And there's probably wonderful people a part of the team that we don't know. But the problem is that the people that are at the forefront, in front of the cameras, in front of anything with a microphone, is the people that are mean-spirited and tone deaf and are completely unprofessional. And that's kind of the problem. We need people that are professional, can deliver the information accurately on a timely manner, and then can at least be able to at least empathize with the people's frustrations. That's all we need. But instead they get catty and the focus onto other things that just that's not what we're focused about. Right? We've seen the screenshots before. You got the wrong people running these things, man, because they're not delivering the information correctly. They're not offering a professional standpoint and also answering questions accurately and without any, strange bias on top of it. You know what I mean? Like if they can be annoyed as much as they want, they have every right to be. But don't tell the consumer that. You know what I mean?
Don't like us very much. To me, this has become too regular of a pattern to not step back and reevaluate a little bit. I know that Behavior is a profit-driven company, but it seems clearer than ever that we are, as players, nothing more than numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't listen to the first wave of consultants that they had in their little secret Discord server, then they ignored the fog whisperers, and now they are ignoring the new, official, public consultants that they themselves hired. Not only do they ignore almost everything that comes their way, but they actively seem to dislike the people who play their game. For me, this creates an interesting dilemma where I don't believe the game will ever be truly stable, and now I don't believe the developers like me at all. Which, I mean, to be fair, I've made some negative videos, but...
To be fair as well, honestly, I completely understand and can relate to that sentiment that the DBD community as a whole is not a very likable one. We can understand that. But at the same time, you know what I mean? At the same time, there are definitely some good apples in the bunch. You know what I mean? And I think that if they are going to view the community as consumers, then I don't understand the mentality of not giving people what they're asking for. You know what I mean? And trying to maintain good public reception, good public view. Like, I just don't understand that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, instead of being smug, go, okay, well, if we do this, this will get a much better perception for everybody. We will look, at least appear to care about the community, care about the game. But we can appear to do that as long as we kill switch this quickly and we can get that and get out of the way sooner, like get ahead of things, so that they can actually show, hey, we do care, even though they may not actually do so, but at least appear to care about the game, care about the community, and care about the balancing and stuff like that. And that's crazy, right? It's crazy. And that's why I keep touching on the whole unprofessionalness of it, because it's like, are these people not trained like for this type of stuff? Like, they're picking these community managers. Like, how are we not like telling these people how to communicate to the actual community? Like, I don't know.
I always make them out of a place of love, but I could see where me specifically, maybe I'm a bad example. Maybe they have reason not to like me, I don't know. But anyway, that brings me to the good and bad news that I promised at the start. Because remember, I said there's a silver lining here, but let's get the spoonful of vinegar out of the way first, right? The bad news. The bad news is that there is no end in sight. To put it simply, at its current rate, DBD will never be anything but a buggy, broken mess. This is not entirely the fault of the devs, of course, and they do catch a lot of flack, but it is hard to give them the benefit of the doubt when they are definitely and indisputably part of the problem. The good news, however, is that this too shall pass. The game will inevitably return to a place of general sustainability, and people will generally be happy with it.
That's the problem. That right there is the biggest problem with the DBD community, and the biggest problem that behavior is 100% aware of. They already know that it's going to stabilize, and then the public perception will be different, and then it'll be nice back into fun little flowers and rainbows and roses and all, and it's gonna smell nice and great, and the grass is gonna be so green outside, because of the fact that they are just gonna play the waiting game until it works out again, because it's worked before, right? They don't actually have to improve at anything. All they have to do is just wait, right? That's all they have to do. They've done it for years, and they'll continue to do it again, and that's the problem. That is the problem. And instead of addressing the main problems with the game, instead of addressing the balancing problems, instead of addressing the bugs, instead of addressing any of the problems, just wait it out. Just wait it out. Of course, just spit on everybody, every creator that you bring onto your streams and your panels. Just spit on them. You know what I mean? Don't even respect their opinion, their input. Just pretend that you do your own thing, and then wonder what happened. And of course, why would you ever do anything else? And that's the problem. That is the problem.
Save for some bugs here, there, and occasionally everywhere. This is the worst the game has been in a while, but it's not necessarily the worst it's ever been. Hello, Binding of Kin. Good to see you again.
That is another point that I hear a lot of. Oh, it was not as bad as it was, and it's like, yeah, but it's still bad. Like, it still sucks. Like what the heck? This is not something that people should just be waiting on. Like, oh, if we just wait for it to be better, then it will be. Like, I mean, yeah, obviously with things in life, it works that way, right? Like, this too shall pass. But when it comes to these devs, where they just constantly show their hands, take the mask off, show they don't care, show that they only are focused on the bottom line, which obviously is how that works, but at least don't try to hide the fact that they're worried about the bottom line, and they're actually at least trying to seem like they care, would be a lot. I would give them a lot more credit if they at least attempted to seem like they cared from the start. But they constantly are doing the exact opposite of what they claim that they're trying to do.
Behavior has righted the ship in the past and gotten things back on track before, so I expect that they'll do that here again. Within a month or two, all of this hoopla will have calmed down. It will be back to buying skins, grinding rifts, and speculating on who the next licensed killer will be. By all means, things will return to normal. So, if you love DBD and there's nothing that's happened of late that has impacted you in any meaningful way, then you'll be able to go on and join the game just as you always have. But for me, things are different. I just don't see the game in the same way I used to. I always knew that it was a buggy mess, but in my naivete, I always assumed they'd get it figured out one day. That eventually, things would be in a good enough state that we could look back on these days and laugh.
That is probably the thing that I think the vast majority of the DVD player base are probably doing. They're just holding on to this little glimmer of hope that it'll get better. My favorite license will be in the game, and they're gonna be so good and so fun. You know what I mean? We're finally gonna get that buff we've been waiting for our low tier killers. We're finally gonna actually see some actual buffs to the killer side that actually matter, instead of getting a nerf every 2 seconds. That would be cool, Nah, no, that would never happen. No. You're supposed to just consume product and then wait for next product. Come on now. And it's like I don't want to sit around here and just promote the negativity this much, but it's, you know, the writing's on the wall, man. The writing's on the wall. They keep constantly showing their hand, and it's like, wow, like it's kind of incredible.
A doubt. But of course, that's all right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a video game. And I've enjoyed my time with DBD, and I hope all of you continue to enjoy it long after I'm gone. This is a cool, unique game, and I wish it nothing but the best. Let me know down below how you feel.
Yeah, honestly, it sounds like Das Food is just about to like start heading out the door, as probably the rest of us should too. Honestly, I feel like a lot of us creators really need to start kind of moving away from the game and going to greater pastures. I think that's the only way we can get around this, and the only way we can just do better, you know, try to get out of this while the you know, because I don't think all of us should be sitting on the sinking ship, you know what I mean? We kind of have to jump off before we completely freeze in the Antarctica ice water. But regardless, let me know what you guys think in the comment section, man. Check out the description for ways to support the channel. You can also check out Das Food's channel there as well with this video here. You can also consider becoming a Patreon member or a member on YouTube, following on Twitch or TikTok to look at some clips, and also watch me play Kill Live on Twitch and YouTube. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video.